Hey guys, welcome back to the Laid Back Homestead. I'm Crystal, and today we are going to be doing some improvements to our hydroponic garden, as well as setting up and rolling out our fall crops in our DWC buckets. So this should be exciting. We are going to be working really quickly because we have rain in the forecast and the wind is absolutely crazy right now, but I need to get this done, and at least it feels pleasant outside. So let's go get started. So I apologize if this comes across as super windy today, but it's the only chance I really have to get out here and do this work, and at least it feels pleasant. So I'm going to give you a quick update on my hydroponic system, and we're going to be resetting these. I finally have figured out what I want to plant there. I have some things ready to go. So I'll show you how we reset these from last season. They're currently running. You may be able to hear that in the background. But this is our hydroponic Dutch bucket system that we have going right now. I need to do a nutrient top up. So I think we're gonna have to come out and stake some things. My brassica, this is a broccoli. This was the cotton ball seed challenge that I had started months ago. And I have some peppers in here. They're not looking the best right now. We were dealing with different issues, but they have still been producing. I may pull this guy out, I'm not sure yet, and plant another brassica there. He is producing peppers, but they're on the smaller side. And I just have varieties that are doing better and they're producing, bigger peppers. So I am still on the fence about that. This guy's past his prime. So over here we have some brassicas. I think this was a Brussels sprout that we started by seed with me just putting them in here. The issue I was running into was something was coming along and topping them and just completely taking off the top leaves. And that happened several times. So I got fed up and decided to cover them with something simple as this, and that seems to be working. Now they're growing a lot better. That guy had gotten top too after I had first put his little cotton ball out, and I thought he was a goner, but he bounced back. Obviously he's looking good. And then here I have some serranos. These didn't do as well in the beginning of the year, so they are finally now setting decent fruits, which I'm happy with. I have some, I thought this was giant aconguas, but now I'm wondering if it's banana peppers. And like I said, these were from last spring. I've over summered them in my yard, so the tags are gone at this point. Here we have some Jimmy Nardellos and some decent size bells that I'm going to come out and harvest before we get started. And last but not least, my last Dutch bucket is a Brad's Atomic Grape. But you can see we need to get some kind of structural support out here. So my husband's going to come help me do that. Meanwhile, I am going to work on the nutrient situation in here. So I know I've shown y'all how I do my hydroponic nutrients in other videos, but I do have a lot of newer people checking into the channel, so I'll just cover it real basic here. There's two ways you can do this. I use the MasterBlend series of fertilizer. You can either do this by tablespoon, or you can do it by weighing out with like a food scale, which is your probably more proper way to go. And I will do that afterwards because I do have a new food scale. But for my main reservoir for 27 gallons tote, I'm gonna do 4 tablespoons, maybe 4.5 of the MasterBlend tomato and vegetable formula. So 4.5 of this. Now to that same bucket, I am going to do 2 tablespoons of Epsom salt. And you could mix your Epsom salt with your actual MasterBlend. Now in a separate bucket, I'm going to do 4 tablespoons of the calcium nitrate. Now, I've seen people do this different ways where they don't, or they mix all of their things together. But I was always told that you need 2 separate ways to dissolve this, because if you try to put your calcium in with your MasterBlend, some kind of reaction, it locks the calcium out from being fully dissolved. So I always just pre-dissolve it. Not sure one way or the other because I haven't tested it, but if it's not broke, I tend not to want to fix it. And then a quick stir, and I will let these sit till I know they're dissolved. I did show y'all that calcium nitrate. I keep that in a cereal container because where I live, it's very humid and it's caked up on me before. So I try to just eliminate as much moisture as possible. So I apologize if you couldn't read that said calcium nitrate on it. While the nutrients are dissolving in their separate buckets over there, I just come, put the hose in, and start to fill up the rest of the reservoir. Once my nutrients are dissolved, I just come dump the buckets in, fill this up right to under its release pipe, and we're done. Hydroponics is reset for the week. Now that I've finished topping off the hydroponic nutrients, I went ahead and started harvesting what I could from the system. And you can probably see my husband in the background. He's already brainstorming what kind of structure he wants to build next to support these plants. It's something that we've really needed over the last couple of seasons and are just now getting around to handling.
I'm building like a circle trellis, so I'm just anchoring these here for position, and then I'm going to build a structure out of wood to hold it together.
The wind is brutal. Our structure is coming along nicely. This will help me to grow taller crops in here with a sturdier foundation, or a sturdier trellising system, I should say, than what we've had in the past. While my husband is over there working on the new trellis system, I am going to get some harvesting done from other places around the yard. These cucumbers have bounced back with great gusto. You can see, got one up on my trellis there. To get everything harvested before things start to go bad. And these are actually looking really good. Normally around this time of year, I'm battling pickle worms. And I had some in some of my earlier cucumbers I harvested last week. These guys actually look pretty good. Let's see if I can get it, you guys. These are some big cucumbers. I believe this was the Suyo long variety that I grew. Now coming over to this side of the yard, I think these eggplants may have gotten away from me. They were kind of hanging out back here behind my seedling table. I'll see if I can do anything with that. This one's still good. Pretty sure this was the Rosalita variety of eggplant. We've got a green eggplant hanging out over here. This one maybe past its prime too. Ooh, we just found some pink tongues. These are delicious sauteed with a little bit of soy sauce and garlic. Coming along as I'm moseying around the yard. Now to prep these buckets for their new baby plants, the first thing I'm going to do is drain them, because they've been sitting here collecting rainwater and things like that, and I don't want anything like that in here. I want to be in control of the nutrients. So I'm just going to pop out their side straws. If there's anything that needs to come out, it will come out. You can see, and I'm just letting that empty for now. So I showed y'all how I use tablespoons. Now I'm going to show you how I weigh out. This is for a 20-gallon reservoir. You need 48 grams of the MasterBlend. And you don't have to be super precise about this. When I used to weigh out, I never really was then either. You need 24 grams of the Epsom salt. And lastly, 48 grams of the calcium nitrate. Perfect. Now again, same as before, no matter how I measure it out, they all get pre-dissolved separately from one another before going into their main tote reservoir. Now, if you're doing DWC buckets, you don't have to mix up a large amount of nutrient solution and keep it stored. However, for a garden as large as mine, for ease of use and just making sure that I stay on top of keeping their reservoirs filled and keeping those plants growing, I find it much easier to store a large quantity of mixed nutrient solution ready to go. And what I've done, I also in another video showed you how I amended the DWC buckets to make my life significantly easier. And I will link that video down below if you're interested in that. So I just have an old tote and I measured it out to figure out the size of it because this was actually gifted to us. So I didn't buy this. So I used 5-gallon buckets of water and I calculated how many of them it took to get to a certain fill point. And then I drew a fill line on the wall. So I know that that's how many gallons of solution I have in here at any given point in time. So I'm just going to get the hose going and then we'll add our solution and we'll be able to go on and move on to clean out our DWC buckets. So our nutrients are filling up over there and I'm just going to lift this up so y'all can see inside of there. That is all of last season's roots that still need to come out. So we are going to get that cleaned out before we can plant anything else in there. Friendly reminder that the roots that are in that bucket are filled with nutrients and completely compostable. So I compost in place, so I just went and threw them around my yard. But if you have a compost pile, make sure they don't go to waste and put them in your pile. So now our mixture is done and we're just gonna scoop it up with our little gallon scooper and start filling the buckets. So I don't know if you can see super well in the camera, but when it comes to DWC buckets, you don't fill the bucket all the way to the top. The fill line here, we put a little black dot so we can see. And it's about an inch below where it clips to the actual bucket in this particular system, which this system I did get off of Amazon. So it's easily available if this is something you want to experiment with. So while he's working on filling up the DWC buckets, I finally picked out who the lucky 4 are going to be that get to grow in those buckets. So we have a Romanesca cauliflower. This is my first time growing this in any type of hydroponic system, so that should be really interesting. I have here a Brussels sprouts Long Island improved. Again, I haven't done the Brussels sprouts in the DWC. We'll see. I tried them in my Dutch buckets. They did okay, but it wasn't this variety. So technically, I guess still new to me. And then we have a cauliflower snowball and a cauliflower snow crown. These, I want to say, other than the Romanesca, I can't be quoted on that, but these 3 for sure are hybrid varieties that were all started from seed in our fall seed starting videos. This one was also started from seed, but I just don't know if Romanesca is considered a hybrid or if it's considered an heirloom. Okay, the buckets are all filled, and now we just need to clean off our roots a little. Now, this may be overkill for this particular system, but it's a must for my Dutch bucket system, so I just recommend it. Keeps the dirt down. We're just going to shallowly clean off the roots and just gently teasing off some of that dirt. And all we do to plant these out is just make a hole in our balls, our little clay balls we have here, and put the roots down as deep as we can get them, and then make sure you push the balls around the stem to provide some extra support for the plant. And that's it. Just wanted to say that if you don't have a person here to help you, because obviously me and my husband are working together to get this done because we're about to get rained out, but you can easily, this is the top of the bucket, You can dump these balls out onto the side, or dump out half of the balls onto the side, put your plants and your roots in, and then put the balls back on top. There they are. They are on a timer. Fall DWC plant. And here is our finished trellis. And as you can see, we've already got things stringed up. Finally got our plants off the ground. This was a much needed improvement. We've been talking about it for a while and just needed to get it done. We got our brassica supported. We did leave an opening here so that we can come in here and do any type of maintenance on the buckets if need be. Now, of course, if you don't have a circular design, that's not necessary. Got our tomato running, and everybody is now hooked up and happy. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. We managed to get our hydroponic garden set up, staked up, and we were able to roll out our fall DWC veggies. And we even got a small garden harvest to boot. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're into gardening and homesteading content, I encourage you to subscribe. And until next time, stay blessed.